lost on Looming Lane. I always took pride in my sense of direction. Maps, compasses, and even modern GPS were only secondary tools to my intrinsic spatial awareness. However, that one fateful night on Looming Lane shattered my confidence. The day had been long and wearisome. A family emergency had me driving across the state, and by the time I was heading back, night had painted the world in hues of indigo and black. I decided to take a shortcut, relying on my impeccable sense of direction. Looming Lane, an ironically apt name as I'd later find out, was a lesser-known path that snaked through dense forests. The canopy was so thick that it seemed to swallow the moonlight, leaving me reliant on the cold, clinical beams of my car's headlights. As I drove, I noticed that the night was unusually silent. No chirping of crickets, no rustling of leaves, just the soft purr of my car's engine and the rhythmic tap of a distant, unseen drum. I drove on, trying to shake off an increasing sense of unease. The road ahead, barely visible beyond the confines of my headlights, seemed to stretch indefinitely. I checked the clock on my dashboard. It had been stuck at 3:15 for what seemed like hours. Suddenly, my radio crackled to life. A soft, lullaby-like tune played, one I remembered from my childhood. "Come with me to the old pine tree," a woman's voice sang, its ethereal quality sending chills down my spine. But there was something else, an undercurrent of whispering voices, almost like they were chanting a mantra just below the song. Panicking, I tried turning the radio off, but the haunting tune continued its ghostly serenade. And then I saw her. Standing in the middle of the road was a figure, draped in a white, tattered gown. Her long black hair concealed her face, and she stood still, arms hanging limply by her side. I slammed on the brakes. My car skidded, tires screeching, but stopped just in time. Gasping for breath, I blinked, and in that fraction of a second, the figure vanished. Determined to get out of this godforsaken road, I stepped on the gas. But no matter how fast I drove, the road seemed to stretch on infinitely. Every now and then, the silhouette of the woman would appear on the side of the road, behind a tree, or in my rearview mirror, always watching, always silent. It felt like I was trapped in a never-ending loop. The drumbeat grew louder and more frantic, and the whispering voices seemed to be closing in. Then, out of nowhere, a bridge appeared ahead. It was old and made of rotting wood, with rickety railings on either side. A faint glimmer of hope ignited within me. Maybe, just maybe, crossing the bridge would lead me out of this nightmarish loop. But as I approached, I saw them, countless shadowy figures lining both sides of the bridge. Their eyes glowed a fierce, unnatural red, and their whisperings grew into loud, synchronized chants. I hesitated for a moment, torn between facing the eerie congregation or being trapped forever on Looming Lane. Taking a deep breath, I decided to drive on, praying the bridge would hold. The chanting reached a feverish crescendo as I made my way across. Each shadowy figure turned its gaze on me, their burning eyes searing through the darkness. I could feel the weight of their stares, heavy with intent, bearing down on me. As I neared the end of the bridge, a colossal force slammed into my car from the side. Metal crunched and glass shattered. The world spun, and I felt myself being lifted from the ground. And then, darkness. I woke up to the sound of chirping birds. Sunlight streamed through the canopy above, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. My car was parked neatly on the side of the road, undamaged. The bridge, the figures, the eerie lullaby, all gone. Shaken, I got into my car and drove on, eager to put as much distance as possible between me and Looming Lane. It was only when I reached home and caught my reflection in the mirror that I realized the once brown irises of my eyes now glowed an unnatural shade of red. From that day on, I never trusted my sense of direction. Some paths I learned are best left untraveled.